All right, guys, welcome back. We are getting ready to go to Game 3 of Ryung versus Symbol. It's going to be on dual site. Now, Symbol is down 0-2. This is a best of 7. $500 is on the line. And it's a little bit of a pressure situation for Symbol. I mean, he doesn't want to go down 0-3 for sure. I mean, nobody wants to go down 0-3.
Yeah, that would be bad.
He also, I mean, I'm sure he didn't want to go down 0-2 either. So, but, I mean, kind of the...
Well, let's talk about the mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go down 0-3, what does that actually do to you? It's basically like, well, my opponent has been dominating me.
Yep. And
you know, it's I feel like emotionally it's a lot harder to come back, so you need to make a stand right now, Symbol, and that's why I like the choice with dual site.
Agreed. I like, so far, what we've seen out of Ryung has been awesome. He opened the first game with something... It wasn't really cheesy, but it was definitely a risk, going that proxy barracks. And that's kind of a very deliberate strategy by Ryung to try to open up the first game with a quick win, then go for a very solid timing push in Game 2. You're going to have to see what he does in Game 3. I would predict that he's going to do something very safe because, from Symbol's perspective, you're down 0-2. You really have two options. One, you do something like your riskiest, most aggressive build, or you just play your very standard game. But we've been seeing that out of Symbol so far, and it hasn't really been working out for him, so we're going to have to see what kind of adjustments Symbol's going to make to try to come back into this. But from Ryung's standpoint, he's been the aggressor in the first two games. He doesn't really have to be aggressive now because he's up. He can kind of play safe and standard and just hope that he can win 2 more games out of, you know, the next potential 5.
Now, if you're wondering what that drone was doing, normally the fastest distance is a straight line, so going from, you know, the natural to the natural is the best way to scout. But you saw the drone coming up here. What it was checking for is some sort of proxy barracks. If another barracks, let's say 2 racks or just the 1 racks was up there, he would be able to spot it out and catch it.
Right.
So that he doesn't have to deal with any early game pressure. But of course, that's not what we see. I like the early drone scout in general, just seeing what his opponent is capable of through surely the.
Yeah, because from Ryung's standpoint, you're up 2-0, so you might as well. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if you did something crazy in the third game, you know, just goes for like double proxy racks or something, because he's up 2-0. He can afford to kind of take that kind of a risk where Symbol can't make those kind of mistakes. So that's why we saw that drone scout.
It's definitely being questioned if that is an all-in. Different trains of thought with the double Hellion or double reactor Hellion, because it's pretty much guaranteed to do damage. It's pretty insane. Like, the amount of Hellions you have, you can actually take out buildings, spine crawlers, queens, anything. You know, it doesn't matter if it's light or not. It's like you have so many Hellions. So I do like that style. Definitely that you were talking about when you get a lot of very, very Hellion heavy. I would love it if Ryung actually mixed that into his style right now, put his opponent on tilt.
Ooh, wow.
Just a little bit. And what that does, it not only helps out, he might get a quick win in this one game, but it serves as a, hey, watch out because I'm capable of a ton of stuff in this best of 7.
Here's something interesting from Ryung. Looks kind of like a 1-1-1 type of play. We do see a reactor on the barracks. He's pumping Marines out. He's making Hellions from that factory, and he's got a starport coming down. So it looks like Ryung is going to once again be very, very aggressive in this game.
Yeah, this is absolutely fine too. It's the same thought process. Do something that's very one-base oriented. Show your opponent, I'm capable of doing this. It'll force your opponent to play a lot more defensive throughout the whole series. It gives you an advantage. You know, even if he doesn't win this one game, it sets a great tone.
Yep. And I definitely think that's kind of why he's doing it. He's really, really gaming Symbol right now. He's making Symbol kind of play to his style, essentially. Because Symbol's tried the same thing essentially twice and it hasn't worked. And Ryung is just really, really being very powerful right now.
Wow. Okay, so he's going to bring up his spine crawl all the way to the main. And
interesting read by Symbol.
Yeah, this is an awesome read by Symbol, actually. But his natural is completely exposed. And with Marines and Hellions, that's going to be a very easy composition to actually stop. Just mass Zerglings. But let's see if he has enough Hellions out in the field. Units tab is showing 3 Hellions and 9 Marines, so not that many units. You can see a good amount of Zerglings, a total of, I missed it, 22 Zerglings out in the field. So not bad. with those 3 queens, that'll definitely help out quite a bit. It just depends.
Brilliant read by Symbol. He kind of knows exactly what's going to happen. And I think this attempt by Ryung is going to get thwarted really easily. And here comes a counterattack. And there's nothing right now for Ryung at his main base. There's, okay, 2 Hellions did pop out, so Symbol is going to hopefully back off, or he's going to lose all of these Zerglings because he wasn't paying attention because of this drop in the main base.
No, don't do that. And you can see that the medevac is actually very low in life, so he can't actually pick all those units up. Roaches are out in the field to just deny anything.
Yep, so Symbol holds this off. A little blunder by losing like 15 Zerglings over at the ramp of Ryung.
Sure, yeah.
Didn't really have to do that, but at the same time, I'd rather lose 15 Zerglings and save my main than keep my Zerglings alive and lose my main.
Funny enough, we don't have any responses to these roaches out in the field. I think a Marauder is very important to have. There you go. The
Starting
Marauder
his
is
first one
started.
Yep.
So he will be able to defend against any sort of roach shenanigan, but in the meantime, there was a big drone. You can see 5 drones in queue as we speak. Income tab. Just catching up. That's what he needs to do. He spent a lot of larva on Zerglings and roaches in the early game stage, so that's why we do see a ton of drones at this point. He's just focusing on his economy, making sure that he's keeping up. Because remember, those mules, he's at double mule production. Ryung is. Those are 4.5 SCVs per mule. You can look at it like that. So it's plus 9 mules. So if you look at the income tab, 29 plus 9 or 30 plus 9, it's 39 harvesters to 39 harvesters. Not bad. I don't mind it whatsoever.
Right, and Ryung is just establishing his natural expansion right now. Pretty decent time because Symbol invested so heavily in unit production to stop the aggression of Ryung. Ryung can kind of get away with going for a bit of a later expansion because obviously Symbol wasn't droning up throughout this entire time. He does have a pretty healthy economy now, but he's not establishing a third just yet. So Ryung is actually still in a pretty good position. I think it's the game is pretty even right now.
It's interesting. Symbol's going for this upgrade style yet again, and he's doing off of just 4 gas. Now, when you go for double upgrades and the infestation pit, you basically say, I'm only going Zerglings and infestors. You can't really go any more roaches. But it is nice, however, that he has that bank of roaches. That helps quite a bit. The roaches are great tanking units, and it allows your Zerglings to live a lot longer. On top of that, they actually have pretty good DPS, base DPS, so they don't need so many upgrades. They're going to benefit from that +1 carapace. So overall, I really like where Symbol is at. I think he's actually at an advantage, even though he's only on 2 base. He does need to think about getting his 3rd base pretty soon, but remember, his advantage doesn't come in economy, it comes in the development of his army.
Yep, I do like the macro hatch that's being placed down by Symbol. I would have liked it a little bit earlier. If it was actually done now, it would allow Symbol to ramp up his production quite a bit. Then he can take his 3rd as his 4th hatchery. And here comes an attack over at the natural expansion. And again, Symbol's units are all kind of in the main base or trying to out on the field. And the natural is pretty wide open right now. And if Ryung can actually take this down, it would be huge. But he's not going to. He's going to kill quite a bit of units, though. Looks like some roaches. Oh, if these Hellions can sneak around.
Where are his Zerglings? That's the ones he needs. Now, Carapace is finished, and these units are actually in beautiful position. They're going to be picked up, though, because Ryung cannot stay there for much longer. You can see just the threat of those queens killing off those medevacs is definitely pretty high, so he has to be careful for that.
Right.
But overall, I mean, Symbol was just saying he was in a great position. All of a sudden, he just swings it over. He was not getting the required amount of units to actually hold against the pressure of Ryung. That's kind of weird because we've seen Ryung play a very aggressive brand of mid-game TVZ. We've always seen him go with these drops and these little pressures. So for him to be droning at a point where he shouldn't be, a little bit odd. I would question that particular decision.
Yeah, it's definitely a little strange because Ryung has been doing the same thing essentially for all 3 games, and Symbol had such a great read earlier, and then kind of a little bit of a misread just now. Ryung is doing a good job of kind of denying this creep.
Ooh, Zergling's going to come in here. Can they pick off that 1 C-check? No. C-check is more than fine. The Marine support is really good. Let's check upgrades 1-0 up against. It's a +1 carapace. I do believe with +1 melee attack. Yes, it is. So a slight advantage going to our Zerg hero over here. but the army composition, I have to say, favors Terran quite a bit. And here we go. The Roaches are under attack now. Infestors are out. Wow, that's a lot of Infestors at this point in time. And you can see Fungal Growths will be applied, but I don't think there's enough stuff. Just sheer units. Power-hitting units. There the Fungals are. You can see the Roaches and the Zerglings get cleared up quite easily, and that's not what you want to have happen. But Zerglings will swing in. Yet again, these units should be picked up into the medevacs if they can't hold on. Yes, they will be. And the third will stay alive. So Simple will gain and net his third out of all of this.
Right. Now, I think that attack by, dealing with that attack by Symbol was a little bit off in that he sent his Zerglings first, and the Infestors were lagging pretty far behind, so that by the time the Fungals went off, all the Zerglings were essentially dead. I think Symbol could have done a lot better job dealing with that, but...
Here we go, run by. And these Zerglings are going to do a lot of damage. You can see they're forcing the SCVs off the line. The one Marine over here gets picked off. Nice hold position, just making an artificial wall with those SCVs. Can he actually do anything more? There's a ton of Zerglings over here. He's not really supplying this, and it's going to be punished. You can see, oh god, this isn't going to do well at all.
No, I think Symbol's going to crush this.
Yeah. And +1 Carapace is just about to hit, so he's probably going to push out as soon as that happens. 10 seconds away. Infestor's going to burrow up.
Yeah, Ryung needs to retreat, and he is doing that right now. Meanwhile, he has loaded up a medevac, so he's going to go for a drop, and if Symbol misplaces his units, which it looks like he is doing, this drop is probably going to be able to get a pretty decent amount of damage here.
Oh, yeah.
But Ryung doesn't want to lose... Okay, he picked them up in medevacs, but here comes the drop. A couple drones are getting taken out, but it looks like, yeah, Ryung is going to hightail it out of there. He's killed 4 drones. So pretty good job by Symbol of dealing with this.
He's probably like, where the hell were all those units? Now he sees the 2 medevacs just floating by. He's like, okay, they're in there. But right now I do like Ryung's position, or rather, Symbol's position, excuse me. Ryung has lost a lot. Let's go ahead and check how many SCVs he lost in that engagement. So it's actually only... Oh, yeah, it was 17. Sorry. And now he's going to net 1 more. Cool stuff. Command Center's going to go down over here, but it will be denied. He might actually commit some infested Terran over here, but I highly doubt it. No, he's going to kill a Viking. Okay, save that.
Yep. I like that Viking from Ryung. He did kill 3 Overlords, just something very annoying for a Terran player to do to a Zerg. Not very many Terrans do it, though.
No.
Underrated.
Definitely not. Now, a huge gaggle of Zerglings going to move on over here. They might go for the counterattack. This is definitely how Dual Sight is played. I think it's the best variation of how to do it. And these Zerglings, they're going to go unopposed. The Marines are actually rallied over somewhere, and they're going to get picked off, surrounded. This natural is super exposed. And you can see, oh, nice job with the Fungal Growth, stopping those siege tanks from getting too far. But additionally, they are being denied that siege mode. That's probably the more important thing. Of course, they don't really want to siege up.
Oh, wow. Nice Fungals by Symbol, taking out a lot of the Marines, and almost all of his Marines are in the red right now. And Symbol is just in the main base, wreaking havoc on Ryung, and his army supply is falling. 57 supply, Ryung GG's, and Symbol takes the first win.
Yep, so he will move up to 2-1. Again, it was really nice play by Symbol. He was able to fend off that aggression. And when you fend off aggression, there becomes a reload time. And what I mean by that is each player remakes their army. The good thing for Symbol is that he actually went for the double evolution chambers. And when you do that, it's saying, I'm going to invest in something a little bit later. This time around, he didn't go that hatchery, right? So that allows him to focus more on his economy and more on his units. At that point, I shouldn't say economy, but he can drone up a lot faster. He doesn't have to worry about oversaturating to move drones over. He can focus on units. He was able to defend against the drop very easily. And with that long-term investment, which were the upgrades, he was able to obviously gain the advantage from there. He was able to take off. Really nice play by Symbol.
Yep. So we are at a 2-1 lead for Ryung. Symbol did get on the scoreboard, so he's still alive, and we're gonna have to see if Symbol can even the score in Game 4. So
we're gonna move over there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Game 4 between Symbol and Ryung coming up after this.